There is a gender difference in the experience of meaning at work, wherein women experience their jobs as more meaningful than men do. If we were to look at how this evolves over time, we actually find that the gender difference in experience of meaning at work is increasing over time.
Jobs differ in autonomy, flexibility, in social impact that they have. We wanted to research whether there are significant differences in how female experience their jobs and how men experience jobs.
We start out the paper by essentially showing that there is essentially women experience their jobs as more meaningful than men do on average. And then we also dug deeper to try to understand, well, what are some of the things that might be underlying this experience of meaning differently?
It's not just the mission that could be meaningful or the impact, but also about what do you actually do in a daily basis. You know, how much autonomy do you have on that job? How much can you use your skills to the optimal level? And what's maybe the corporate culture and, you know, the relatedness of the people can also make a job much more meaningful or much less meaningful.
Most of this gender difference in experience of meaning is really driven by differences in experience of this sort of pro-social impact of the job, the extent to which you feel like it's benefiting others or benefiting society. Another thing that we looked at is sort of, okay, well, after having established that, well, you know, what might contribute then to men or women being in these different types of jobs, those that are more or less pro-social in nature. And we find that both men and women seem to experience these more pro-social jobs on average as more meaningful, and women also differentially experience these jobs as more meaningful than men do.
So think about like nursing, for example, which is a more lower income job, and the female experience that as much more meaningful than a more male-dominated occupation like in manufacturing, for example. Nursing was meaningful 15 years ago, and is kind of meaningful and has this social impact still today. While like manufacturing is over time, due to offshoring and automation, it becomes less meaningful and a little duller, and the male actually, the male who work in those male-dominated occupation actually experiences that such. So the differences between the man and female increases over time.
Taken together, I think we're trying to contribute to this understanding that, you know, just to understand well-being at work and inequality at work, it's important to take a look at a number of different factors, not just difference in wages. We're certainly not concluding that you know, the gender wage gap isn't a problem. And if anything, we're actually shining light on the fact that even incorporating a sense of meaningfulness into this kind of utility at the place where the gender wage gap is the greatest, which is the higher wage distribution, the gender gap is just as large, if not even maybe a tiny bit larger.